I'm here at the first Ufology Congress of Varginha, 30 years after the case, and I'm with Kaetano Barbosa Mota. He's from Brasilia, guys. I met him here, and he did a thesis back in Brasilia about Varginha, the Varginha ET, an analysis of the ufology case from the perspective of place branding, perfect branding, so really cool. I wanted to know your opinion after doing this research. How was it? What conclusion did you come to?
So for my thesis research, I tried to focus a bit more on the communication side of the story and not so much on the ufology side. Even so, I would be taken seriously because we know how it is, right? That in this field, there are a lot of people who mock it, make a lot of jokes, but I always took it in good fun. I'm an enthusiast of the case. And the main conclusion I reached from my thesis is that the story of the Varginha ET, it is very important for the city, and that's why we're here. The Unidentified Flying Object Congress is even a milestone for the city to establish itself as a way to mark the place, which is the purpose of place branding, brands becoming places, places becoming brands. So Varginha, more and more, needs to establish itself as the city of the extraterrestrial. And here, in my work, I noticed that over these 30 years, Varginha, under different administrations, has been establishing itself as the city of the extraterrestrial, and that this story has brought benefits to the city in social, cultural, economic, touristic, and urbanistic aspects.
That's it. So here's a tip. He has his thesis, which he did really well. I'm going to read it, right? You said you would send me a copy, and then I'll give you some feedback too. We're going to keep walking around the event, interviewing other people. So, Kaetano, thank you for your words. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye. Photo session here. Look. Look, here are two of the girls from Varginha, right? There's Katia and there's Liliane, old acquaintances of ours. There's Chris, right? Isis, right? The whole gang here. Isis from our group, Chris too, you're from our group, and Aline too, right? So I wanted to ask you, it's been 30 years, right? They were playing the national anthem there. I even saw that Katia got emotional. I got emotional too, but I held back my tears. Because you start to remember and like what went through my mind at that moment. Pass it to me here, Arthur. I remembered Claudio, who has already passed away. I remembered Eurico, who has already passed away. I remembered Mrs. Teresina Gallo Kleps. So the thing is, they would be happy if they were here, right? But after 30 years, what can you tell us?
Oh, guys, can I really talk about 30 years now? It hit me, it really did, because I wasn't expecting it, you know? Because of all that, we had a foundation, right? Because I knew this was going to take over the world. I had that inside me. But for it to get here, to 30 years with this much, with so much content, with so many things, with so many puzzle pieces already in place, it was a surprise. And with so many professionals, right? You all are our group, right? I say our group because everyone is together, right? And mixed in. And at the moment of the anthem, I got emotional. I tried to hold it in and all, but I couldn't. There was no way to contain it. And then I saw my granddaughter there, you know, who came with me, Giovanna, and she insisted, you know, Grandma, I really want to go. And I saw those people, you know, with so much affection looking at us, and I was thinking so many people are missing to see us reach 30 years, right? So we were in that same mood, like I said, we were in that same sequence that Petit also mentioned the same thing. So many people, right, Kate, who should be here to see this today, right? I said, yeah, but I think the most important ones are here, you know? Petit, I told him, I said, the most important ones are here. And most importantly, James Fox got involved in our circle. He believes so much in our story. He gives it so much credit, and he chases after it along with you all. Right? Let's uncover, let's reveal, so it's a real pleasure, it really is.
That meeting in the United States was great, right? Because with every piece of news, every testimony from you, even from afar, it gave us hope. It made things better for us. Oh, that's great. Everyone is coming together for the case. And then when the American talked about the C-17 thing I celebrated, it felt like a final, you know, like Brazil in the World Cup final. I was in the car coming to the south of Minas, and I celebrated. Arthur knows because he was driving, right? And he saw it. The moment I felt good, I said, see, everything I was saying, now it's being confirmed, right? So it's good for us to see that 30 years later, the case is progressing. There's still a lot for us to discover. But Lillian, what about you? So what's your perception after all this time? Is it good to be here or not? How is it?
Isn't it really good to be here? Yes, right? Because it's been 30 years, right? Now that we're celebrating and people, the affection from people, right? This documentary that just came out, we could really feel it, right? The people who like us, who like the case, who believe, right? Really? So, like, it's really good for us to be a part of all this today.
It's really good. And like the people in the city, right? Back then, when you were little, I remember people making fun, going to church. The E.T. girl, has that changed today? Or is there still a little bit of resistance?
There are still those people who just don't believe, right? But nowadays, the people who come to us only say, no, I'm with you. I believe you, right? So it's really good to feel that these are people who came from far away, right? To be here at this event today, not even knowing if they would be able to get in or not. So this affection, that's what's important. I think it makes up for it, right? And it erases all those bad days we went through back then.
That's great. So that's it. We're going to walk around the event a little more, collecting more testimonials. So keep following along with me. Look, I'm here in front of the first International Ufology Congress of Varginha, 30 years. I'm here with the researcher Jamil Villanova, right? And he was present at the case since the very beginning, back in 1996, being part of the group of 7, right? Me and Jamil. We ended up secondhand smoking a lot inside Claudia Covo's car, the late Claudia Covo, right? And we used to come to Varginha almost every weekend to collect something. So Jamil, tell us, 30 years after the case, right? What do you conclude, or maybe you don't conclude anything?
Well, I conclude that it's real, okay? Everything that happened is happening, right? It's a continuation of the facts, a continuation of the truth, and that's what I always think. If the girls Valkyria and Tatia hadn't been there, none of us would have known, because the military operation was very well done. The mistake there was that the girls had shown up, so it was a very perfect thing, and it was just bad luck. That's why I think that in this case we have a very strong attitude, really, okay? They're doing everything. They've always done everything to cover this up. They don't want us to know, okay? But we're not going to give up. We're going to find out.
See, Jamil back then was at the Myelini farm. If you know my opinion, I really believe in Carlos's testimony, you know? But Jamil, along with a big team of ufologists, right? Remember? Back then, including me, right? I was there, but Jamil operated the metal detector there in the Myelini field and all. What do you remember from that time? Did something happen or did nothing happen?
If something happened, the army, there, they did a very thorough cleanup, a very perfect one, okay? We didn't find anything. We didn't see anything significant. I almost got bitten by a jararaca. You know, it was in the hole. I stuck my face in, that kind of thing. Bam. Then I kept my distance, but it's crazy. I don't want to say much. I don't think anything. I don't have anything suspicious. I don't know. It's a vague thing over there.
Amen. And like that, from that time we experienced and everything else. There's an interesting detail that, like, whenever some new information came up, Claudia would call us, like, oh, come here and so on. Then we'd get in the car, get out of the car, go somewhere, right? Because the situation was tense, right? So do you remember that situation we went through together?
I remember, because every new thing, every new piece of information that came up, really Claudine would call. We used to sleep at his house at night, and in the morning we'd walk to the little riverbank, right? And that's how everything was. Or you would ride in the Globo vehicle, sometimes with the PPT, right? Or in some different place. We kept watch in the area where you could see the airfield. So, I mean, every day, every episode was something different. So the case was really complex, you know. It caught us by surprise, really.
To wrap up here, I wanted you to do this. What did you think about this change in attitude from Birajara Franco Rodriguez, right? Because before he was a fierce defender of the case, and now he's saying he's the quiet one.
It's odd, since Birajara and Bacatini were key figures, right? Actually, Birajara was first, as the incident happened right on the corner of his house, correct? So he knew everything, he knows everything. For me, this change of his was due to coercion from the army and because of where he lives. He is an authority, he has a position, he has a family, he wants a stable life. Then suddenly, he could really lose all of that. So for me, it's a choice.
So there was some pressure there, maybe military, something like that. We don't know what his motivation was.
Just like the girls who went there and offered money, similar things could have been done with him. The problem is for him because of society. He had a position, a profession, he was a lawyer, everything, so it's like this.
So, but I understand all of that, okay? And now playing the devil's advocate here. But if he had all that, he could have. He had already been out of the case for some time, right? He wasn't speaking out. Why did he come back? So he could have just stayed quiet since he wasn't showing up anymore. But then why does he come back right at this moment and stir things up? Says he's the mute guy, right? Mute guy, we know it wasn't him, right? Why? Because all of us here who were researchers on the case knew that the mute guy wasn't there at that time. On the land where the girl saw him, he was actually at Marcon Stadium. He was seen by witnesses there. And the IPM is something dishonest. Why? Because it says that the mute guy was covered in mud and dirt because it had rained, but the girl's sighting happened before the rain. So isn't there some kind of strong cover-up going on, huh? I don't know. I really don't know.
It could be, yes, I think it's perfectly possible. And when it comes to the armed forces, cover-ups do exist. You know that, right? So the case was hushed up. It was shut down by them, and they did everything. They really still do everything to minimize the whole thing. That's all.
So that's it. Just a little chat here with Jamil. Thank you, Jamil. For those who don't know, Jamil is Arthur's godfather, right? Arthur is behind the camera, so he's his godfather, right? So that makes him the godson, right? It's all in the family here too, so that's it. He's the godfather dindo, as Arthur says, so that's it. Let's keep walking here, talking to other people. I'm here with Dr. Armando Fortunato Filho, who was involved in the autopsy matter, right? Of Marco Elixire, of that soldier, right? And of the Minas Gerais military police, who was a P2, right? From intelligence. So, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your involvement in the Varginha case.
My story. 30 years ago, I worked as the medical examiner for a soldier who had a very, very severe infection with very high virulence, right? With a very pathogenic bacteria. He had a drainage procedure done at the military police barracks by a medical lieutenant, and that drainage progressed. A few days later, he developed a case of lumbosciatalgia and pneumonia. Then he developed sepsis and passed away, dying about 12 days later, despite the use of antibiotics and various anti-inflammatories that ended up masking the infection. So, then it came to me, a body to investigate. Professional error, what people used to call medical error, period. Recently, about a year and a half ago, Dr. Janine, who had done the pathological exams at the time, discovered a bacteria, right? Staphylococcus schleiferi. And now he raises the possibility of doing a more thorough study of this bacteria. So, a biomolecular study, maybe an exhumation of the soldier's remains to see if they can locate the bacteria. So, a study, he thinks the bacteria could be alien. And there's also the matter of Dr. Ito Venturelli's testimony, who recently said that he saw this creature at the regional hospital. So I came here today mostly to listen to the ufologists. I'm a ufologist. I'm a retired forensic doctor. I was a criminal expert when I was a medical student. I studied medicine at Federal University of Minas Gerais, and I studied law here. And I've been following these conversations, these testimonies, so I'm also forming my own reasoning. I say this: the expert doesn't create or invent. We work with proven facts, with evidence, but testimonial evidence and circumstances we also, as ordinary citizens, take into consideration. So, various testimonies that I've heard recently, even from the girls today, ladies of Professor Carlos, who I met a week ago, who saw the wreckage of the craft. The testimony of Dr. Ito, who is a doctor working with us here in Varginha.
Highly respected.
Highly respected. A neurosurgeon with over 40 years of medical practice in Varginha. Professor Janine, who is an anatomopathologist, a scientist.
I was also at his house interviewing the doctor.
João Batista Macuco Janine is highly credible. So, all these facts, as you piece the ideas together, lead us to believe in the possibility, yes, of a creature here. But today I came here to listen. I'm not a ufologist. I'm meeting you now. The renowned name in ufology, Petit, also here, just now. James Fox also does a wonderful job. He draws our attention. So, the testimonies I heard in Washington from retired United States Air Force military personnel are quite strong. So, let's continue the studies. I suggested to the American scientists that we conduct a more advanced study here of the locations of debris from the craft that crashed in the rural area, more advanced studies here with both Brazilian and American scientists, and also that a biomolecular study be done on the DNA of the bacteria that infected, that contaminated the soldier. Zeres, yes.
At the time, did you analyze it, Cerez's body? Yes.
There was only one lesion, one drainage. That's it.
So, because it's on record, right? At least the military police said he had an ingrown hair, right? So had the lesion just been made now, or was there any formation, let's say like a geometric structure around it, like a wart or something like that?
Hidradenitis is a boil, a type of boil. It's an infected hair follicle. You do the drainage to remove that pus, right? With an infectious and inflammatory process, you perform drainage and usually prescribe antibiotics. So, in this case, he very quickly developed an infection, pneumonia, pleuritis, which creates a condition that mimics an anobosciatalgia and with the intense use of anti-inflammatories. It appeared as an infection, which spread, causing sepsis and his death.
So, but in that place you looked at over there and there,
A surgical incision.
there was an incision.
A military police battalion doctor allegedly did it. A body came to me with suspected medical error, professional error, which is the more appropriate term, and nowadays it hasn't been proven. A few years later, it was found there was no error, just a complication from an infectious disease.
I see. So that's how it is. Now we just have to wait for new information, right? Do you believe there might be other doctors who may know about something that happened either at the regional hospital or at Humanitas and who might come forward in the future?
It's unlikely, but Dr. Italo talks about this with a lot of conviction about that tape that was seen, right? That was shown to other fellow doctors, but I didn't see that tape at the time, nor recently.
From other doctors. Did you hear about it?
No, I didn't. No.
Because I have the names of several doctors that I know were involved, right? In this matter, for example, even Dr. Lajara, I don't know if you know Dr. Lajara, he would have seen the tape too, right? It was actually Sofia España's mother, who is well known here in Varginha, who commented about this fact. But the doctor is Sandra España.
Right.
It's Sofia.
Daughter of Alessandra.
Yes, daughter of Alessandra. And then the mother, supposedly said that he mentioned something. But when I approached Dr. Lajara, he avoided the subject, said he wasn't authorized, didn't want to talk, and that was it. So I believe there must be other people out there who know details about the Varginha case, but unfortunately, for some reason, they don't want to talk. Thank you.
Everyone has their own story and their own testimony, right? So let's keep the conversations going, right?
That's it. And the perspective on the case 30 years later.
How have these 30 years been? The extraterrestrial of Varginha case, the extraterrestrial of Varginha is being exhumed. Actually, it's not the soldier's body that's going to be exhumed. The story is also being exhumed for new testimonies and clarifications, right?
So I thank you for your words. The pleasure is mine.
We have the truth.
We will keep talking to other people. Thank you. Take care.